For more on the U.S. and European economies, we're joined by Kereakos, Zuras, former economic advisor to George W. Bush, and Paul London, president of Paul London Associates. He is also the former deputy undersecretary of Commerce. Welcome, gentlemen. Where do we begin with this debate between the Obama plan and the Romney plan, and I guess, for lack of a better word, the U.S. plan? Let's start.
Well, I think there's a big debate going on both sides of the Atlantic and maybe a little bit in China about whether it's going to be austerity or a certain amount of job creation. The president today, when he spoke, I think he was talking about job creation. He says, you know, the construction industry is dead in the water. We're laying off teachers and policemen and firemen, and we ought to get them back to work, and then the job numbers and the economy would look better.
Is it fair to pin the mixed economic numbers we see on President Obama?
I don't think so. This was a very serious collapse that occurred in 2008 and 2009. And very hard to get out of something when you've lost, as he said today, 27 weeks of falling employment, and then now we've had another 27 months of falling employment. Now we have 27 months of rising employment, but we started in a very big hole.
Mr. Zuras, in this Money and Politics segment, what do you see as the major catalyst that perhaps might give candidate Romney an extra edge here?
Well, I think if the economy keeps trending where it's going, and by the way, I haven't disagreed with almost everything that we just said here about Obama.
We can smile about that.
Yeah, I think we can. I mean, he did inherit, but he's going to keep playing the inheritance, so that he needs to pay the inheritance tax on that. But I think if the economy keeps going bad, and by the way, the unemployment rate isn't 18.2, it's really 14.8 when you use the U6 measurement. High gas prices,
which explain, by the way, what that is for
okay,
a
the
audience,
U6 measurement
which is
includes everybody that's unemployed for whatever the reason. It doesn't just take the people that were in the unemployment line and then they exhausted their benefits, so they're not counted anymore. But it also takes into consideration under.
I'm going to take the devil's advocate position on this, because if you're looking at the economy as a whole, the U.S. economy depends on the global economy. The global economy is very much in question of what's happening in Asia and Europe. So is it fair to blame the President Obama as to what's happening in the United States economy?
Yes, because he spent almost $1 billion in stimulus and it's not working. The cost of the small jobs that he created were $275,000 per job, and we still have 12.7 million people out of work. And he wants to grow infrastructure jobs that are union public jobs, which I don't agree with, because they are jobs that need to be funded over and over again. And today he talked about mayors and governors laying off firemen, police, and teachers. That's a good soundbite, and it sounds good, and it's an emotional thing, firemen, police. Nobody wants to see firemen, police, and that. But when you stimulate a state and you give it money, and then you have to keep giving it more money to keep those jobs active. And what's happening is there is no money, so that's why they're laying them off.
Let's take a break from the unions here. I want to ask about what's happening in Europe. Today, President Obama said that he believed that the Greece people, if they wanted to, could stay in the European Union. Is that what's best for the U.S. economy?
I think seeing Europe do better is very good for the economy. That's what he was trying to say today. And, you know, China is stimulating, as you've seen the last few days, they've announced a new stimulus program. The European Central Bank is saying countries now have to stimulate, they have to spend some money, they don't agree with you. And Bernanke said we have to spend some money, it can't be all done with monetary policy. You can't do this by giving more money to the banks and not having any borrowers. You have to have some borrowers.
You know what I'm worried about when I speak to investors out there, whether you're the small investor on the street or you're the big multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar hedge fund manager, is politics is going to get in the way of doing the right thing for the U.S. economy. When we talk about the fiscal cliff, so I think this is a fair question, is it's extremely political of what's going to happen come November, let alone what happens in December. Well, we've got some big decisions to make for this country.
This fiscal cliff is a really serious thing. And you know, when President Bush, who we worked for, when he tried to get the Republican Congress to support him and save the financial system from going down, the Republicans in Congress voted against their own president. And that's what Barack Obama is trying to deal with. He's trying to deal with a very recalcitrant Congress that's not giving him any help at all. You want to put these people back to work.
I'm going to give Mr. Zuras the last word on this. The world is watching. If the U.S. falters, that affects the rest of the world too. On this
If
fiscal cliff.
they're fault.
Well, the fiscal
Yeah,
cliff.
absolutely. I agree. And it's kind of sad that we haven't had a budget, that we have a president who hasn't produced a budget. And he's responsible. Look, the buck stops here. What happened to that? He has to rally these people together, and he's just not doing it. But he's got time to go out and make TV appearances and meet and do fundraisers and performances. How about getting back and doing the president's work? Not that it's going to be easy, because we're more divided now than ever, but for real.
I think we know who you'll be voting for, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time on this Friday evening. Again, thank you for this very lively discussion.
Thank you.